I had I was struggling with some health issues, specifically adrenal fatigue, because I had had a whole bunch of sicknesses that just went on and on and on. And I was on, at one point, 4 different antibiotics to try to take care of some infections that I had never experienced before. So my health was pretty much rock bottom. She reached out to me, and I just couldn't see it for myself. I did not realize the power of food until my son, who was 8 at the time, started having severe digestive issues. He didn't just start, he had been struggling with severe digestive issues for many years. And we were really, really concerned about him. I knew that he ate terribly, but with stubborn kids, you could only do so much. And I could not make any headway with that. But we were pretty surprised that they really weren't looking at nutrition as the root of any of the causes, or as a possibility to heal his gut. So at that point, I was desperate. I could not say yes for myself 2 years prior. But when Andrea reached out to me again, I just knew this was something that he needed to get into his system. The fact that I could get it for myself and then get it for him for free sealed the deal. And he had some pretty dramatic results within a week or two. And unbeknownst to us, we were going to do a little science experiment, because he was great for like a month. Everything had changed. His mood had changed. He was not doubled over in pain anymore. He was very regular, and we were thrilled. About a month in, he started having belly aches again, and they started to get more and more severe. Come to find out, our science experiment was that we found out that he had been spitting out his Juice Plus into the garbage can in his closet. And he was the one that immediately made the association and said, it's because I haven't been eating my Juice Plus, and I'll never do that again. And he literally hasn't. 6.5 years. He has not missed a day. Neither has my 16-year-old or my husband or myself. The irony is, I just went through some old paperwork, getting rid of old paperwork, and these stacks and stacks and stacks of old paperwork of health receipts and health guidance. And, that was all prior to Juice Plus. And we just put them in the shred pile. I filled an entire Trader Joe's bag. And that was only about 6 or 7 years of our health journey before starting on Juice Plus. Now I don't have enough to fill even a file folder for our entire family. So food has really been super, super powerful. Nutrition has been super powerful. I never understood the power of food. Now it makes perfect sense. And we've had a dramatic life change by adding the huge variety of over 50 plants into our diet every day, in addition to what we eat. That's it.
Such a powerful story. And I know you love to grow with towers, but Andy also used to have severe asthma, and he's been able to walk away from those inhalers. I know you've shared that before. And then you had an incredible journey, and now you're actually running marathons, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, it truly is, because it's all from a nutritional breakthrough, truthfully. I mean, these were not things that we were capable of doing prior to. So I feel stronger, more active, approaching 50 than I did in my 30s or 40s. Well, and not my 40s, because I've been doing Juice Plus, but my 30s for sure.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to change the screen now, everybody. And I'm going to just pull up some slides just so I can share some of the education of what Sue is actually experiencing, because I'm an education junkie and I love to hear this, what's going on inside the body, which is why things are changing and people, she has more energy and the digestive issues are gone, the gut is healing, and all of these things that we're talking about. So Mary, just give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Okay, great. Thank you. So when we gather, we're really just a community that inspires healthy living. And what really got me years ago, I'll share my story, but first, just to share some of the education as to why we need to eat so many fruits and vegetables. And we know these statistics, right? Everybody knows heart disease, cancer, diabetes, obesity. They're all issues that we have in society today. And our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. And we were just at a garden party this week with our community. We get together and we gather and we talk about these things that are going on in our world and how we can make a bigger impact and help people. And, we look back in society 20, 30, 40 years ago, what were people doing? They were growing their own food. They were bartering for food. They were picking their own produce. Things were not doused with pesticides. We didn't have a distribution channel. People would grow their own, and maybe someone would have a crop and then they would trade with someone else. But when we look at how society has evolved, it's nobody's fault. We've just become more of a technological advanced society. Our food supply isn't supposed to be in that type of a distribution channel. That's not how nature works, right? So when I saw that kids were being more affected by their lack of food and than other things in society, I started putting pieces together and thinking, okay, well, why do we have more autism, and why do we have more early onset adult diseases that we're finding in kids? Why is there ADHD, and why are people having gut issues, and where are all the autoimmunes coming from, and why does someone have food allergies, or maybe they have other types of allergies that they need to carry an EpiPen for? And when you think about when you were a kid in your classroom, how many kids had allergies? How many kids had autoimmune disorders or ADHD or on meds? So, what's happening? What is happening? And when we look at this picture, the slide just says so much here. The environmental toxins have been increasing. Our society has evolved. We're no longer growing our own food. We no longer have control over our own food. Our food is now being grown with genetically modified materials. There's a lot of things that are going on: pollution, water contaminants, prescription and over-the-counter drugs in our water systems, things that are in our skin care products and our hair products, and contaminants and pesticides, and all of these things are happening around us. So it's really what's happening is we're not as healthy as we could be because we're not being given the clean produce that helps heal our body, because our produce has gone through this change. And our supermarkets look like, if you see the picture here on the right, you can see the growth hormones, less nutritious, artificial colors, trans fats, preservatives. I can go through and read all of these, but basically what it comes down to is our food is being altered to sit on a shelf, to sit pretty, to look good. So by the time we get there, we put it in our cart, we take it home, it's on our counter for a few days. It doesn't rot by the time we get it. That's what's happened. And the society is advanced, and an apple may travel 1,500 miles. It could sit in a grocery store for up to a year. By the time we get it actually in our body and into our cells, the nutritional quality has basically depleted halfway. An apple today versus 20 years ago versus 20 years ago has 50% less nutritional value, which is why broccoli loses 50 to 80% of its key nutrients before you purchase it. So, we're all trying to do the best we can, and we're working hard, and our dollars are going toward food that may not be nutritionally fit for us. And that's not what we want. We want to make sure that what we're purchasing is of good quality. I remember going in the grocery store years ago with my son, Drew, and all the bananas were green. And he was like, "What is up with this, Mom? Why are they all green?" And I was like, "Well, they've been shipped, and they're not getting more nutritious. They reach a certain peak nutritionally. They're picked when they're green, they're shipped, and they start depleting in nutritional value. So no, what we're not getting more as they get ripe." And the other thing he said to me is, "Why is there an organic section about this big and the other section is about this big? And what's the difference?" Well, shouldn't it all be organic, right? Shouldn't it all be clean and safe for us to eat? So these are all the things that started happening as a mom, and I started thinking, okay, what can I do for my family, and what do we do as a community? We talk about exercise, sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. That's when we do all our detoxing, when our liver really does a lot of, it works overtime basically at night. If you've ever woken up, if you've had a night where you've had a few too many to drink and you wake up late at night, that's your liver working overtime. So you really want to make sure that you're getting that sleep so you can detox and get shed all those toxins in your body and stay healthy. Managing stress, drinking water. We have a great program. We just did a challenge on our Project Health page and this page. Gail Sullivan, you actually won. Congratulations. The awesome water bottle. I need to get to you. We talk about using safer products and then eating real food. And we're going to specifically talk about fruits and vegetables tonight, fruits and vegetables, and how they can prevent chronic illness. So I love talking to kids about oxidative stress and bringing in an apple and cutting it and showing them the white fleshy part and giving them a lemon and saying this is an antioxidant. And if you squeeze it on one side and you leave the other side untouched, the untouched side turns brown, it ages, it rusts. That's what's happening. It's decaying, right? The apple's decaying. That's what happens inside our body when we take in oxygen. We are just taking oxygen in as human beings. And what happens inside is our body, in order to burn and do what it needs to do, the fuel, it has an aging effect. So we're actually, oops, looks like somebody is drawing on the slide, but that's fine. Continue. No worries about that. That happens sometimes with Zoom. Just wanted to let you know it's fine. So we squeeze an antioxidant on the apple, and that antioxidant protects the apple from aging, rusting, and turning brown and becoming diseased, right? So it's just like a fireplace screen. If you didn't have a fireplace screen in your house and you built a fire and threw gas on it, that flame and fire could just take off. It could erupt and it could cause your house to burn down. Well, the same thing's happening inside. If we don't put that protective layer on, which is with antioxidants, which are found in fruits and vegetables, right? If we don't do that, then we age, we rust faster. All of those disease processes come in. So it's not that the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's that they're so good for you, they can save your life. And we know this, but then learning about all of the other steps, the reason why we need to eat 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables in a wide variety is one of those reasons I mentioned about the green bananas, right? You can see a picture here. The distribution channel, you could get an apple in Florida that's from California, shipped 1,500 miles. It's transported, it's in a distribution channel. We're not getting enough servings, we're not getting enough color. It's not as nutritious as it used to be. So that's one of the things that's been happening. And this company and this information that we're sharing is just an incredible solution. We've really come together. And what I love about this, I'll just insert my story here, talking about multivitamins. Some people have said, well, why not eat a multivitamin? Doesn't that help bridge the gap between what we should eat and what we do eat? And my story is I took that advice from the pediatrician, and my 3 kids were eating vitamins and they never really sat with me. I couldn't digest them when I was pregnant. I'd throw up after I'd have my prenatal vitamins. They made me really sick. It's just not something I could stand. I never had vitamins, but I thought I'll listen to my pediatrician and we'll go ahead and add that to my kids' diet. And my middle guy, my son Will, he overdosed on isolated vitamin supplements. And it was such a shock to me. And I'll just share like the little emoji picture of the brain blowing up. My mind was blown because one, it was recommended by a pediatrician's office. Broccoli, cabbage, beets, and kale weren't talked about. It was, how many are you eating well? And there was a little bit of information. And since they knew that we weren't getting it done, vitamins, isolated vitamins were recommended. My son ended up overdosing. I learned that you can only absorb iron in trace amounts, or it can be lethal, fatal in some cases. I'm just lucky that my son didn't eat the whole bottle. It was a big bottle, and I found out. But it woke me up, and I was really questioning, what are we putting in our bodies? And I started doing my own research, looking at our distribution channel. Why is our produce have chemicals on it? Why is there organic and not organic sections? How can I nourish my family? So I was chopping and slicing as much as I could, trying to get that color of the plate on. I was a stressed out mom. My kids were not getting what they needed. I knew they weren't eating raw broccoli at breakfast. I knew they needed to have raw plants on their plates three times a day, the meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in between. And they were eating a carrot, an apple, the pretty much the same things that over and over again. And I thought, geez, they're going to be failure to thrive. They're just not getting in what they need. I knew they needed that large variety. So when I knew that isolated vitamins were harmful and we couldn't get what we needed from them, I started looking, and the supplement facts label on the vitamin bottle did nothing for me. And I knew I wasn't going to add that into my home. But what I found out was the apple has over 12,500 phytonutrients, where if you look at the isolated vitamin supplement, it's basically made in a chemist in a lab, and they pick maybe the top 5 or 6 phytonutrients in the apple, and they put that together in this man-made pill that ends up being expensive urine, or you're not even absorbing it. So one day I noticed at my gym, there was a little pamphlet like this. It was just like a little placemat of fruits, vegetables, berries. We have vegan omegas now. And I literally was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I immediately went over and looked and saw it said nutrition facts. And I noticed there was no child safety log, no poison control number, no warning label. And it had an NSF label, which means that a third party comes in and tests it to make sure that no contaminants have blown into the field for the produce, that it's tested for molds, mildews, heavy metals, to make sure that it's clean and safe. So it's cleaner than any food that's in my home. The thing about living in New England, or living anywhere for that matter, is your produce is very seasonal. So in New England right now, we're getting some fruits that are starting to get, the plums or the peaches, or watermelons now coming in. And so we're getting some of those things, but in the winter, we don't see that. We're getting, the same apples or the pineapple, or we're eating the same foods over and over, right? So when I saw this placement, I thought, wow, not only is it grown ethically and sustainably, meaning it was actually introduced and grown for someone who had cancer. All of these properties of all of these colors work synergistically in the body like an orchestra that plays all these different musical instruments together to create this incredible melody. That's what this does in the human body. And it's been researched, each of these colors, that they work together for proper health and vitality. So when I saw this, I thought, well, this is absolutely amazing. And when I asked about the sustainability part, everything's thrown in to be crushed whole. So you've got the entire orange with the bioflavonoids, all of the pineapple with its core, the beets with the stems and the leaves, and the broccoli stalks. I mean, how many stalks of broccoli do your kids eat? Do you typically cut that broccoli stalk off? And a lot of times you'll buy your broccoli and they're just little heads at the top, and the stalk's not even on there, nor the leaves. A lot of people love to have elderberry in the winter, but you're eating elderberry, blueberry, pomegranate, concord grape, blackberry, blackcurrant, red currant, artichoke, bilberry. Have you ever bought bilberry? Has anyone bought a bilberry? I still have not ever bought. I found red currants at a farmer's market once. Haven't found bilberries, but I don't have to worry about this anymore because my family is getting this 7 days a week. It's already been grown sustainably and ethically. I don't have to worry about dousing it with chemicals. It doesn't have to look pretty and sit on a shelf for a year. It's allowed to ripen on its vine and reach its nutritional peak. That's when it's crushed whole. It's dehydrated. The sugar in the water is removed. It's in a powder form, and it's put into our capsules or in a chewable for kids. And I remember looking at this and thinking, if any of you also love the idea of helping the earth and giving back to the earth, everything that we do here, we think about that. And our sustainable vegan omega is just another option. We grow our own algae. And what this company has found out over the last 10 years is that we don't get the omegas from fish. We get it from what the fish eat, which is algae. So we have the sea buckthorn berry oil, pomegranate seed oil, tomato seed oil, safflower seed, raspberry seed oil. It's 100% plant-based, heart, brain, joints, skin, eyes. It's again that synergy of colors, cold pressed, and there's actually, if you look at the little capsule, I don't have one here on me, but there's a little nitrogen bubble inside, because what happens with fish oil capsules is they have a hard cap that they need to seal and heat. So by the time they heat it, the oil inside has gone rancid, which is why a lot of people burp up those fish oil. They have those fish oil burps. We have this little nitrogen bubble in our omega that when it's sealed, the vegan capsule is sealed, there's nothing that heats the oil inside. So the oil hasn't been altered in any way or heated up. We also have a vegan nutritional beverage called Complete, and this is a game changer for your gut. Basically, it's a fertilizer that grows all of the good bacteria in your gut. So that is so important. We talk about the gut-brain connection. Keeping your blood sugar stable is low glycemic, and this kicks all your sugar cravings. It's a great on-the-go breakfast, lunch, workout recovery. We make protein bites in our family, and they're gone within a couple of hours. My daughter Ava gets up in the morning, grabs 6 of them, runs out to work. The boys come in from school, they throw them down. I'm usually the last to get one, which is fine. But when you think about getting more plant protein in your body with the fiber and the calcium, this is an amazing way. It's absolutely delicious. We have a shake in the morning for breakfast, keeps our blood sugar stable, which is super important, because when our blood sugar is stable, that affects our mood. It also affects our blood flow. If our blood sugar spikes and keeps coming up and down, what happens is there are little nicks on the lining of your bloodstream. And after a while, that can start to calcify and harden, and that's not what we want. So we want to keep our blood sugar stable so our blood flows freely. The omegas are a great way to keep our cells pliable and soft so that our blood flows well. Omegas are a great anti-inflammatory, and they also are not made in the body. You have to get them from an outside source. So what I absolutely love about this, and why we're so passionate, and we're known for being the fruit and veggie dealers, and I'll sign up for that. I'm happy to be that person forever. You know, the person who's going to talk about fruits and vegetables are never going to go out of style. They're always going to be needed. It's nature's pharmacy. This is food, has a nutrition label, non-GMO ingredients, vegan, kosher, gluten, dairy free. The NSF certification is huge. I'm going to speak to high school athletes tomorrow. The NSF certification, if you're an athlete, you want to play at a high level, and a lot of kids are taking, you know, some whatever things off the shelf. A lot of banned substances can be found in there. There hasn't been any testing on it or research. And this nutritional is the most thoroughly researched product in the world. Over 35 peer-reviewed published journals, which it's not to say fruits and vegetables are good for you. It's actually saying when you get these plant powders in the body, this is what they're clinically proven to do. Instead of spending money on marketing or things like that, which is why we share it, we actually put and invest our time in education and research. It contributes to cardiovascular wellness, inflammatory responses. We want to keep our inflammatory responses healthy and make sure that we can put those fires out. Quality of life, cholesterol, healthy lung function, skin and gums. And right now, our immune system, everyone's talking about the immune system. We all want a healthy, robust immune system. We do not want an overactive immune system. We don't want an underactive immune system. We want a balanced, robust immune system. And the way to do that is to just flood your body with the right foods every day. It helps maintain and protect our DNA. You know, when we saw that the image of the apple that was decaying and turning brown, that's the aging process. We want to stay youthful and have a glow and keep our skin and our gums, everything healthy. That's who we are. That's what our DNA is. We want to reduce oxidative stress and make sure that, you know, you could be a vegan and eat a lot of plants, but you might not be absorbing anything. So you want to make sure your gut is healthy and you're absorbing the food that you put in there. And Dr. Richard Du Bois, who pioneered nutrition during the AIDS crisis, he shared this nutrition with all of his patients. He found that people who were eating a lot of fruits and vegetables had better recovery. And he said there's nothing else available any place in the world with or without a prescription that's been clinically proven to do what these plant powders have been proven to do. And I remember seeing, when I told you I saw that flyer, and I thought, wow, I can order this and get it for my son. So I sponsored my son Will, my husband sponsored Ava, my parents sponsored my third child. And what that means is, with your order, an adult gets a child for free, age 4 through 18. And now all of these things that the Family Starts study says: missing fewer school days, no over-the-counter prescription drugs, drinking more water, visiting the pediatrician less. All of these things happened in my family. It's been over 10 years, no meds of any kind, no over-the-counter meds or antibiotics. Prior to that, it was not the case. I'm so happy to be able to say, as a mom, we really are living with vitality. I've allowed my kids to take a day off of school for a well day because they no longer have sick days. They haven't missed school. And to them, what does that mean? It means they're not missing practice. It's really important to them. They're not missing games. They're able to perform and do the things that they want to do. And that the brain health piece for kids at school. I mean, let's face it, our kids are inundated. They have a lot of things going on in society today. If they're studying in school, there's a lot thrown at them. And then they have their extracurricular activities and social media. And there's a lot of things going on. So for a parent to have peace of mind and say, wow, I'm able to just check this off, nourish them, and continue to chop and slice and make sure I'm giving them what they need, but I don't have to worry about those gaps anymore. If you love the idea of growing your own, we have tower gardens, where this was just named one of the top growing tools in the world to grow inside year round. I have 2 that I grow year round inside. I'm actually going to take the lights off and move 2 of them outside. But I put these greens in my smoothies. We have our salads. My son Will asked if we could have a strawberry tower, so I'm going to be experimenting with that this summer. The plants are already growing, but in terms of the efficacy, the safety, no recalls. You're not going to find anything that's recalled here. You're growing it. It's not taking up space in the fridge. It's alive until you eat it. It's more nutritious. It grows 3 times faster, at 90% less space, and 98% less water. So to be able to know that moving forward in the world, when our soil is being depleted and there's not going to be more soil, the earth is only as big as it is. We're not getting a bigger earth or getting another one. We have to really take care of what we have. So knowing that we're able to save water this way, but grow actually a half acre of tower gardens equates to 30 acres of land, which is just mind blowing. It's taking up space vertically. So we're able to grow that much more produce and be able to save that much more water and get that much more nutrition in. So between your plant powders and your vegan omega and the vegan nutritional beverage and growing on your tower, we are plant-based nutrition and education. That's what this company has been doing for the last 25 years. And prior to that, it was smoke detectors and water filters and air filters. So we really have we are the leader in whole food nutrition, healing, and education. We have this amazing community. And if you like what you heard tonight, ask the person who invited you on the call or into this group. If you want to learn more about what we're up to, we'll be having more events that we like to do together. But we're always looking for more voices too, because we need to get the word out, heal people with food, and just let people have options to be able to get this nourishment at a cellular level every single day, no matter how hectic life gets. It's just the health recovery stories of just healing with food have been amazing. So I went into it again, peace of mind as a mom whose child overdosed, started researching and really found the answer here with all of the colors of the rainbow. So I'm going to stop the share here now. Just to keep it within the time frame. Want to say thank you to those who joined us tonight. Thank you for joining us on Project Health. So good to see everybody. And if you want to unmute and say good night, just so happy to see everybody joining, and just, you know, what we're doing as a community is so needed, and I'm just so proud to be part of it. So thank you for joining tonight.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you for,
Thank
yes,
you.
thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks for sharing your story tonight, Sue.
Thanks for having me on.